Hello and welcome to La Route du Sud, the Queen stage, the third stage, the penultimate stage of this year's race. And well, they've already taken on the Tourmalet and they've also gone over the second climb of the day, the Gavarnie. They're currently on the final climb of the day up to Gavarnie-Gèdre, and that is all after starting out in Saint-Gaudens at 10:45 this morning. And the peloton currently split up. I'll give you the situation out on the road. We've got three out in front. That's Sylvain Dillier, Gianni Moscon and Pierre Rolland. And these three riders are ahead of Nicolas Hédé, Christophe Riblon, Elsie Jesper and Bernard Choperena. And then you have the peloton with the red jersey still of Julien Loubet sitting 2 minutes and 37 seconds further back. So what we expected today was perhaps to see Team Sky moving into the lead in the race. Instead, Sylvain Dillier really has grabbed the race by the horns, and he's put himself safely in that King of the Mountains jersey for the end of the Route du Sud. And he sits there currently in the virtual red jersey as well. I'm joined once again, I'm delighted to say, by Tony Gibb. And Tony, interesting times, only 11.9 kilometres to go.
Yeah, join the race very late on. Good afternoon, Jonathan. Good afternoon, everybody at home. Thank you for joining us. And here you can see Geraint Thomas on the front of what is left of the bunch, with Hainaut and Ellison just behind him.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. This is our lead trio here on the third stage of the Route du Sud, and Sylvain Dillier labouring away in front. He's in the current virtual red jersey. The man in the red jersey, Julien Loubet, sitting in the splintered and fractured peloton, which contained at the last count 33 riders. 1 minute and 55 seconds further down this final climb of the day, the climb up to Gavarnie-Gèdre, and the riders are certainly here in the peloton, driving things along. It looks as though that number's come down significantly there.
17 riders left in this lead group, and you can see there Loubet doing the ride of his life to hang on to the back of this group.
He's been riding without any teammates since the start of the Tourmalet. That is how long he's just been hanging on to the coattails of the other teams. Out in the front, you've got Team Sky at the moment. Geraint Thomas is driving things along. As we predicted yesterday, Tony, this was what we expected to see. Sky leading things out for Kenny Elissonde with Sergio Henao there as well.
Yeah, and it's no great surprise to see, as you're joining the stage so late in the day with only 10 kilometres to go, it's no surprise to see we've only got the 3 Sky riders there. Don't forget Moscon up the road. So obviously some of the other riders, for example, you know, Viviani, we wouldn't expect to see him here. Stannard has probably done his job for the day. Walt Pauls, we've been discussing him all week and whether or not he's going to get the nod for the Tour de France. So Sky with 3 riders left. Geraint doing the work, having just come back from that layoff after the Giro, with Henao left behind him. They're still thinking that they can win this race, and I think if you look at the time check, 1:45, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that they probably could close this one down, maybe.
They need to close it down, remember, and then they need to get their man Elissonde either across the line in first place to pick up the bonus seconds, or he needs to get an advantage of around 11 seconds, I think it is, over Sylvain Dillier, who is currently in first place. And Dillier, of course, will have also picked up bonus seconds on this stage through the intermediate sprints. There are 3, 2 and 1 seconds up for grabs at each of the intermediate sprints, and he was in this lead 3 when they went across the line of the last intermediate sprint of the day, which was around 10 kilometres ago. They are inside the final 10 Ks now, and it's 1 minute and 42 seconds between this group and that chasing peloton with just 17 riders left, and it is all uphill.
So Moscon there in the black and blue of the traditional Sky kit, not going to do any work at all for Dillier there. Dillier driving on, Elissonde back in the bunch, so that's who's Moscon's riding for. And then at the back there in the green, Roland, you know, we know that Team Sky have been up against it recently.
23 kilometres an hour is the speed currently being employed by Tommy Verkler. This is his last ever Route du Sud, 2-time winner of the race. The Direct Energy rider saying this will be his last one, but he has said that before. So let's not count our chickens as far as Tommy's career is concerned. Stunningly beautiful here. They are making their way into the fringes of the National Park of the Pyrenees. Another rider dropped.
Yeah, sorry, I just said Team Sky have been up against it recently. What I actually meant to say was Cannondale, Drapac have been up against it recently until they pulled those couple of wins out of the Tour of California and then at the Giro d'Italia by Pierre Roland. But Roland up in that front group can sit on the back, can't he? He's really in the sort of nothing to win, nothing to lose situation. He's going for the stage. He doesn't have to worry about GC at all, whereas Dillier and Moscon have got other priorities on their mind. So the bunch here still being led along by Geraint Thomas on one of these little false flats, but look at the gap. It's come down 10 seconds just in the amount of time that we've been talking. And as you said earlier, there's riders being jettisoned out the back of this, well, should we call it the peloton?
Well, I think we can. Well, I have been.
Yeah, it's all that's left.
It is all that is left, though. Tommy Verkler sits in the middle of it. You saw the vivid green shirt of Cannondale Drapac at the back. That is currently the one remaining rider from Cannondale, which is Rigoberto Urán, with Tom Jelte-Schlagter dropped now. And sitting in here, the #1 jersey of Danny Moreno of the Movistar team as well. And he's got a few, or had a few teammates. Brice Feu was the other rider just sitting behind him with his jersey open.
Well, don't forget, if this does all come back together, Brice Feu was one of those riders in that break on day one. So he himself is only at 36 seconds, the same as Elissonde. So Sky have got to be careful if they do bring this back, that they don't gift it to somebody else.
Well, at the moment, the person that they are gifting it to, of course, is Julien Loubet, because he's still sitting there on the back of that group, somehow managing to hold on. And if he does come back in and catches up with the Dillier group, then Loubet will go back and retain the leader's jersey. And with what we have tomorrow, it's going to be very unlikely that anyone's going to pull that away from him, because it's 154.8 kilometre stage tomorrow between Gèdre, Astarac, Arros en Gascogne to Nogaro. And even though there are a couple of little third category climbs, it's a relatively flat stage as far as things are concerned. Eight kilometres then left to run.
1 minute 30 seconds. It's coming down, but I don't know if it's coming down quick enough. But we've seen before, haven't we, on the climbs, how quickly a gap can just be evaporated. Geraint Thomas there grinding out the big gear. This is what Team Sky do all the power efforts for on the long climbs in Tenerife and in Mallorca. Just behind him, Hainaut in that Sky national champs jersey, national champion of Colombia, and Elizondo, the absolutely tiny climber, just behind him there.
Team Sky with 3 here and 1 up the road, and then you can see the colours of Astana sitting in there. All of the teams had someone involved in this 33-man peloton, which has now been whittled down to 16 or 15 riders, and that was except Roubaix Lille Métropole, FDJ, HP BTBP Aubert 93, and they were the 3 teams who didn't have anyone involved throughout, and I think FDJ will be a little bit disappointed that they didn't have anyone.
Yeah, as a World Tour team, to not have representation up the front in a race like this when everybody else was so well represented, I think there'll be a few stern words from the director sportif, Frank Pinot, in the bus or in the debrief at the hotel tonight. But Casual have done a good job. They've got a couple of riders up here, and for a Pro Conti team, doing very well in this level of race.
Yeah, those are the green jerseys that you'll see towards the back of this group. But this is a great test for Geraint Thomas, and I'm sure that it was all, again, part of the plan in preparation for the Tour. We have speculated about whether Geraint Thomas will be part of Team Sky's 9 for the Tour de France, but I think we're leaning towards the fact that he probably will be.
Yeah, I mean, I probably still think it's 50-50, but, you know, as we said yesterday, oh, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Lube, has he just gone back for something to eat, or is this Lube starting to show signs? Well, he hasn't immediately gone back up to the group. We really need to see forwards and see if the group's going away from him or if he's going to jump back on. Here we go. No, it's he's way down the cars now, so I think this is Lube cracking, yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't look as though he's too keen to get back up in front either. Really struggling, was hanging on and clinging on for dear life.
Well, sorry to talk over you there, Jonathan, but if he'd just been feeding normally, he would have been at the back of the group, put his hand up, the car would have come up and fed him at the back of the bunch. It's less than 20k to go. They may be allowing feeding later into the day because it's so hot here. Normally feeding has to stop at 20k, but Lube has gone. So this will be the time for Team Sky really to put the pressure on the front of the bunch, because now the win is alive.
It really is, and they've been putting on the pressure. That's one of the reasons that Lube's cracked, and we're just coming up a little further here and see that rider who's been struggling at the back there was Brice Feyou, but Brice Feyou does look as though he might be able to get back. David Arroyo Duran has been hanging on the back there, but we were down, I think at the last count, we could be going down to as few as 12, maybe 13 riders.
Well, Feyou has just got back on there, so I think the pressure's definitely on. Thomas Voeckler has been dropped as well, so it seems like Sky are really ratcheting up the pressure to try and bring back this group. It's still at 120 though, so not coming back particularly quickly.
No, but what they are doing is that they are laying down a very firm marker here ahead of the Tour, with just the ability that they have on these climbs and the ability they will have on the climbs on the Tour, just to turn up the heat and really put the pressure on the remaining teams. And this is something which, I mean, it's looking pretty awesome at the moment from them. They're still sitting on the front. Thomas Henao sitting there with Elizondo third on the wheel, and now we've got sitting out in the front at the head of the race, this is Sylvain Dillier. And, well, as you were saying on the break, Tony, Gianni Moscon not doing a thing.
No, he's not going to do a single turn there. He's just going to watch Dillier. I mean, Moscon, yes, you know, he's policing it for Team Sky, but he can't do anything about it. And Geraint there has pulled the pin. He's done for the day. Doesn't surprise me. He probably put in that last burst when they saw that Lube had been dropped. This climb, it's a very consistently steep climb all the way up. We haven't been able to get the profiles for anywhere, but it is very steep all the way up this climb. It's not ramps and then forced flat. So Geraint there just pulled the pin. That's his day over. He'll ride into the finish. But Moscon can't do anything about the GC. He's at 6:10 overall, and Dillier is only at 24 seconds from Loubet. Loubet's now gone, so Dillier is virtual leader on the road, and unless this group does something about it, he will be on the top step wearing that leader's red jersey at the end of the day.
And if he is wearing it at the end of the day, you feel that Dillier will probably be wearing it at the end of the race as well. Brice Fayou at the back of this group, which is now being driven on by Enau, I should imagine, up front, with Elisson sitting second wheel. You've got one of the Astana riders, looks like Bakhtiar Kojtayev, who's sitting in third place there. Elisson was really spoken up in the French press. I mean, you've been bigging him up as well, Tony, throughout the 3 days now that we've been watching the Route du Sud, and he is still in a decent position. I mean, just a minute and 10 now. They've just taken a bit of a chunk out of that lead of Dillier. Yeah, and even if you, as you were just saying that, another 3 seconds got rumbled off of that. So the GPS can't keep up with how quickly this gap is being brought down now that Geraint has pulled the pin and gone off just as they're going through the team buses. Some people at home might be watching thinking, well, why are they going down the team buses now? Because when they ride up to the top of this climb, it doesn't go anywhere, and they can't get the team buses all into the parking area at the top because it's literally like Lunarscape. There's a car park and a viewing platform, and that's it. So they'll turn around at the top and then come back down to the team buses afterwards until they make the transfer to tomorrow's stage. But yeah, look at the gap now, 59 seconds. So Geraint did the job of getting rid of Loubet, and now Hainaut really has put the pressure on at the front. It is classic Team Sky. They have brought the advantage down to inside a minute, and some of the obviously feeding allowed here because some of the team buses handing out bottles. There were a couple of fines yesterday for Scotstoun and BMC Racing for taking feeds within the last 20 kilometres on yesterday's stage. I'm just wondering if they've made slightly different rules today because of the heat and because of the fact it's a mountain stage, a mountaintop finish. Yeah,
I should well imagine so, and I should imagine Scotstoun yesterday probably took that. He didn't worry about the 100 Swiss francs that he was going to get fined. He just needed a gel within the last 20k to try and get to the finish. Gap just plateaued a little bit at 59 seconds. You can see how high we are here. This climb actually peters out at 1,830 metres. They've already crested the Tourmalet, which is 2,115 metres, and then the smaller climb, we say smaller, of the Gabrios is 1,356, and that's no mean climb, is it, at all?
No, it's been some high mountain climbs taken on, and it was Pierre Roulon who led everyone up and over with Gianni Moscon. The two of them were out on their own for much of the day once they crested the Tourmalet out in front, and they went over our second climb of the day, the Gavarnie out in front, and it's only here at the base of the final climb of the day that we've seen Sylvain Dillier being able to bridge the gap. Dillier struck out, and I think it was interesting when he was interviewed at the end of stage one. Sylvain Dillier said that he would wait and see, but he didn't look at all convinced that he was going to be trying to go for the King of the Mountains jersey, or even thinking about the overall, as we lose another rider, this time from Caja-Rua, and it's David Arroyo. As you just saw, David Arroyo was fourth in the overall standings, so it's another rider that Sky have managed to knock out of the competition for the overall.
Well, it is, but then, you know, he'll still be getting a top 10, I should imagine, at the end of the day by virtue of that first day breakaway where so many riders opened up a 6-minute gap to the rest of the peloton. And here we can see Moscon has gone for it and managed to drop Dillier. So Moscon and Roland going up the road. Again, Roland now is in the box seat. He can say to Moscon, hey, you're riding to try and break Dillier for the GC. I'm just going to sit here and pump you for the stage at the end.
This is exactly what he's doing, and Gianni Moscon has put some distance here as we go on to one of the steeper gradients on the way up. As you said, Tony, it's an unrelenting climb, but this part particularly brutal, and it's there that Gianni Moscon has decided that he's going to try and break Sylvain Dillier's resistance, and thus far you can't see, but it did look as though it was going to work. You need to have a glance over Moscon's shoulder just to see how far the distance is now back to Dillier, and also I wonder what the distance is between Dillier and the chasing peloton, because we know the gap between these two riders and the peloton, or if we can call it that, because it really has fragmented, and it looks as though we're going to lose another few riders here. Brice Fayou is clinging on for dear life at the back of that group at the moment as Henao continues to drive it forward. Here's Sylvain Dillier. Well, what's the distance between Dillier and Moscon?
Just about to see that, I think, as the camera pans forward. It's nothing, is it? It's a matter of seconds. Dillier doing a great job here just to claw himself back up to these two. The thing is, if they let him just sit there and sit on the front and tap out the rhythm, it's much easier for him. If they start attacking and going backwards and forwards and changing the pace, he's really going to struggle. And again, Roland there just sees that he's coming back, puts the attack in, and that's Roland just going for the overall, for the stage win, sorry.
Andre Zeitz and Brice Fayou look as though they are being distanced from that lead group. And is that Elisond who's struggling there as well?
I think it is, you know, because I think it's Danny Moreno that's in second place there in the bunch. We'd need it to pan forward, but it looked like Elisond was at the back of that group.
Brice Fayou's had to catch up once already. He looks as though he's going to catch up again. Roland attacks. Moscon can't respond. Dillier now has to bridge first to Moscon and then to Roland, but Dillier's done.
That's Dillier done for the day. He got back once, but he's not going to get back this time. That's a very big gap for him to try and recover from. And Roland now is really putting the pressure on Moscon. And you can see just how steep and just how high we are on this climb. Pierre Roland, great Giro d'Italia to end that win drought for Cannondale Drapac in a World Tour race. And here he goes again, trying to get another win on the board for Cannondale this year.
Yeah, and he's looking very steady out there. Movistar are in charge, and Henao's had to drop back to get Elisond that you just saw. And they are sitting about 10-15 metres back from the lead group now, which is being pushed forward by Movistar, and Danny Moreno doing some work out there.
Well, that's massive that Henao has had to come back for Kenny Elisond. It all looked controlled, it all looked nice and calm. 51 seconds it says to the leaders. I think it's substantially less to Dillier, but this will now be damage recovery and trying to get him back on terms with Dillier for the GC overall.
And now does look as though he's towing his man here and towing him convincingly. We've got Bakhtiar Kozyatev, Kazakhstan, sitting in that group, and it looks as though Rigoberto Urán as well has managed to hold on to the group. Back out onto the pedals and bouncing away. We've got Hubert Dupont. Richard Carapaz of Movistar alongside Danny Moreno. He's in the white jersey, the young riders jersey here. Samuel Sanchez Gonzalez of BMC, great climber and proving it once again here. And this group now, they reckon, down to just, well, it's more than 5 because Rigoberto Urán is holding on. But it is just 5 riders.
None of those riders were in that break that animated the first day, so we've got two situations going on, haven't we? We've got the stage win up the road. It looks like Roland is riding away for that. We haven't seen Moscon bring him back. We just need to pan out a little bit, and then we've got Dillier and Sky looking after Elisond to desperately try and get him in that leader's jersey. But Elisond, not only has he got to catch Dillier, he's got to put 13 seconds into him as well to get in the jersey.
13 seconds into him, and it doesn't look at present as if he's going to get any of the bonus seconds, which are on offer for the first 3 riders across the finish line.
Well, it's not a big gap between that 5-rider lead group, shall we call it now, and then Elisond being led by Henao. But on a climb like this, 20 or 30 metres like that is very hard to close down indeed. 3 kilometres to go now, 49 seconds to the front of the race.
So Rigoberto Urán sits in there. Hubert Dupont sits in there as well. You've got Bakhtiar Kozyatev, and it wasn't Samuel Sanchez Gonzalez at all. We've got 2 riders from Movistar, Danny Moreno and Richard Carapaz. Well, Dillier is the 3rd rider in your picture there, and you can see further down, that's how close they are, coming up these hairpins. Dillier but he's got good distance over Elisond, which will be the important thing for him, because these 5 riders, as you correctly point out, Tony, they can't overtake Dillier because they weren't involved in the breakaway on the first day.
No, but if they catch Dillier, has he got the energy to get on the back of them? That's the important thing. If he has got anything left, and by looking at how he's managed to hold the gap to Moscon, he's not on his knees, is he? He's not weaving across the road. He's not completely empty. He's managing his effort. So we can see there he's just up in the shadows there in front. If he manages to get on the back of this group, then I think Elisond is very much on the back foot. So we go back up the front to Roland, who is away on his own now and looking very comfortable.
Very comfortable indeed. It's a steep bit of road this for the riders to take on, and Pierre Rolland is continuing to pull away. Not only is he continuing to pull away, in fact, from Gianni Moscon, but he's actually starting to put time into those 5 riders. Almost back out to a minute's lead now.
Yeah, no problem for the overall. He's 121st. No, he's not. He's 71st, sorry, at 9 minutes and 33 seconds overall. But this is him putting in his final preparation for the Tour de France. Going up this climb, Pierre Rolland. It's really, you know, it was one of the predictions for this race, wasn't it? Is Pierre Rolland going to attack? And at some point, it was pretty much guessed that he was going to, and he has. Dillier here just got Moscon still in his sights. That'll be doing him a favour, because you can just keep Moscon, use him as a reference point, and just keep his rhythm going. You can see there he's out in the saddle, he's fighting, he's trying to get on terms with Moscon. So when this group does come up to him, and I think it will come up to him, he should be able to tag on the back of it.
And if he does tag on the back of it, then he stands a pretty good chance. Where is Richard Carapaz?
Yeah, that's exactly
standings?
what I was
He's
just
in
looking
the
at.
young person's jersey.
Yeah, he's actually he's on the same as Elisond, actually, at 36 seconds. So Carapaz is in the box seat here. That's why Moreno's doing so much work.
Good chance for the young rider from Ecuador. Moreno pulling him up. Moreno, the designated leader of the Movistar team, as is this man for Cannondale Drapac, Pierre Rolland. And he looks at the moment as he's going to stride forth to a 2nd victory of the season. And I wouldn't say when it rains it pours, because it will still be a limited number of victories for Cannondale Drapac Professional Cycling in this season. But after that long drought, they will be delighted if they can pick up another win here. Dupont is struggling, and Moreno's gone. He's done his work, so he's left it to Carapaz. Carapaz currently sitting on the wheel of Kojyatev. And Rigoberto Urán, who has done absolutely nothing, because he knows he doesn't really want to close the gap up on Pierre Rolland further up the road. Sylvain Dillier here, labouring away, back out onto the pedals. And will Carapaz, if Carapaz manages to get Dillier in sight, then that's going to give him plenty to drive towards and try and pull himself in front of. Still only 1.9 kilometers to go. Can he do enough damage in 1.8 kilometers to overtake Dillier? And then he's got to put 30 seconds into him.
13 seconds to get in the jersey. There's Dillier just around this corner. Doesn't look like a big gap, but on this climb at these speeds, it's quite some way. We can see how spread out they are, and Rolland, it looks like, has got a good 300 or 400 meters between himself and Moscon. Just gone through what looks like the official 2K to go. The ticker might be a little bit out, but Rolland up to the top of this climb, got the power going on very well indeed. Moscon just behind him, so 21 seconds back to Moscon from Pierre Rolland, and 38 seconds down to Dillier from BMC. And that's, you know, doesn't look that, does it, on this climb here? It looks like they're very close together. So this says 2 kilometers to go now, so I think the ticker at the top of your screen might be just a little bit out.
Well, it depends, because it's taking it from where Rolland is on the road as Dillier came through there, and we say he's probably not far off 1.4.
So the front group now been shredded down to just 2 riders, Carapaz and Urán, going up this climb as they grab a drink from someone just at the side of the road. Richard Carapaz from Movistar, one of the under-26 riders, and closely followed by his countryman Rigoberto Urán.
Now, Rigoberto Urán is just biding his time. You said that this was an important race for him. Dupont is battling hard to get back onto terms with those two, and in fact that looks as though he might be able to, although he's weaving all over the road. As we look further up ahead, this is Sylvain Dillier. He is currently in third on the road, but he also could be riding himself into the red jersey. We know that Julien Loubet has blown up further down, and he's certainly going to be losing that leader's jersey. A really fine effort from Loubet to try and retain it. He's certainly can turn around and say that he's done the leader's jersey honour today. But Sylvain Dillier has equally put in a fantastic ride, and if he does manage to cling on to third place in this stage, he will of course give himself enough points to, I think, hold off the challenge of Pierre Rolland in the King of the Mountains jersey as well. 50 seconds separating the lead of the race, which is Pierre Rolland, and the two-man, can't really call that a peloton, the two-man former peloton chase group of Carapaz and Uran.
Well, Uran, obviously, as you've said, not going to do any work there at all, and Carapaz just got him in his sights now. You can see it's not a lot at all, probably about 100 meters. So Carapaz just going to have to tap out the tempo to try and bring him back and then drop him for another 13 seconds. It's fair to say that with the exception of a couple of bonus sprints and time bonuses on the line tomorrow, which none of these riders will probably be involved in, certainly for the stage, there's no opportunity tomorrow for any of these climbers.
Stunningly beautiful here in the National Park of the Pyrenees that they just have moved into, and those brave fans who've made their way up here have been rewarded, because the majority of the fans who have made their way up here are French, and they're seeing a Frenchman out in front. It's a Swiss man that we focus on now, Sylvain Dillier, currently in third position behind Moscon, who's in second. You can see just ahead Rolland at the front of the course, and Dillier riding himself into the final kilometre and potentially riding himself into the leader's jersey, but he's got to watch out for the man in the white jersey who's coming up on his shoulder, and that is Richard Carapaz of Movistar alongside Rigoberto Uran, and they are about 15 seconds currently down on Dillier. They need to claw back that 15 seconds, and then they need to go past and eke out another 13 in order to move into the leader's jersey themselves. It looks as though Carapaz might just have to settle once again for the white jersey on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, if they catch Dillier, they might be in for that that third time bonus, which is only 2 seconds. So that's not going to be enough for Carapaz. He's going to have to get 13 seconds on Dillier to take the jersey off of him. Dillier 24 seconds down on GC, Carapaz 36 seconds down. So here we go, back up to the front again, and Pierre Rolland probably coming up to about 1 kilometre to go in the not too distant future. And the crowd starting to be on the road.
500 metres, he's within the last 500 metres, so Pierre Rolland will know that victory is going to be his. He will have time probably to sit up and celebrate. He's had a couple of glances over the shoulder, a little look down the mountain. I think we saw off in the distance some of the riders just starting this final climb of the day. I wonder whether we will have any riders failing to make it in the time of today's stage. We'll have to wait and see. But Pierre Rolland is currently striding forth to what will be his second major win of this season after the 17th stage of the Giro d'Italia. He also picked up the sprint classification jersey at the Volta a Catalunya, and he was 6th overall in the Tour of the Alps. But this will be a very big win indeed for Pierre Rolland, because it comes on home soil, and any win for a Frenchman in France will always be warmly received, especially when it's up in the mountains. And I just wonder if Pierre Rolland might be able to pick up a victory on Bastille Day. It's been a while since France have had a French victor on Bastille Day in the Tour de France. Here's Carapaz and Uran, and how far ahead is Dillier? He's just a matter of seconds in front of them, but Carapaz is going to have to overtake him and force an eke out as much as possible. I think Carapaz stands a reasonable chance now. Up goes the zip for Pierre Rolland, and he is able to celebrate a victory here on the Queen stage of the Route du Sud. A very popular winner. He was first over the Tourmalet, the opening climb of the day. Is that a lottery ticket?
Bus ticket home. He's not riding tomorrow, it's too flat. So Moscon looks like he's going to hang on to second place on the stage. Really need to flick back and see what's happening with the Carapaz-Dillier situation. He just looked like he was just about to catch him. I think, you know, oh, there we go.
There is Carapaz. He has gone past Dillier and he's accelerating towards the line. He's looking to get second place, which would be 6 bonus seconds. I think he's going to run out of road to do that. He's all over the place. Moscon takes second, Carapaz third. Now, how far back to Dillier? I think Dillier might just sneak in, but the couple of seconds, Dillier's just crossed the line there, probably a couple more seconds.
Yeah, I think it's right on the line, but I think Dillier might have, we didn't actually see him cross the line. I think Dillier might have just hung on by the skin of his teeth.
It's going to be absolutely fascinating when we do get the official time check on that, as Hubert Dupont is the next rider over the line. He did very well indeed, because he was dropped a lot earlier on that climb, and he's just managed to hang on.
What was interesting that Rigoberto Urán didn't even try and come around David Carapaz. So Carapaz there actually got 2 seconds bonus. So I think actually I'm going to revise my my guesstimation and say I think with the bonus seconds Carapaz may well have done it.
Well, we will let you know as soon as we get any form of, well, unofficial, first of all, which it will be, and then official word about who's going to go into that leader's red jersey. Carapaz is being ushered off here by his Movistar teammates. Celebrations for him, and Eduardo Sepulveda as well coming in as Kenny Elissonde comes across the line with Henao, and Elissonde looks in real pain.
Yeah, it's been a tough learning curve for Elissonde to be on the receiving end of that one, and I think he'll just thank Henao. But thanks very much, but I couldn't really do much about it, mate.
It hasn't gone to plan for Team Sky today. They have been blown out of the water in the end by Movistar, one of their major riders, and it was mainly thanks to this man, Danny Moreno. Put the hammer down just after Geraint Thomas had come off the front, and Moreno put the hammer down, and that was the moment that Elissonde failed to hang on to him, and as a consequence they now had to drop back and lead his man up over the climb, but in the end got him across the finish line, but he didn't really manage to limit the damage. So Elissonde will not be winning the Route du Sud in 2017. Winner of stage 3, Pierre Rolland, never a threat to the overall, and he's given himself a hatful of points as well in the King of the Mountains, and still can't work out what that is, whether it's
I think it's the route map for today. I think it's the profile of today's route, and he's I think that's his way of saying I identified this one and I wanted to win it.
Et deuxième à 42 secondes, Richard Carapaz, le corps équatorien, et troisième à 43 secondes, Rigoberto Urán, et quatrième à 43 secondes, le cinquième est Sylvain Dillier à 55 secondes.
55 seconds, Dillier was down to 43, so it was a 12-second gap between Dillier and Carapaz got the bonus seconds as well. I think it might put him in the lead by 1 second.
Yeah, it's going to be, tenths of seconds, or just over 1 second. You see Dillier there in the background, and
but Dillier's picked up some bonus seconds on the intermediate sprint as well.
You're right.
So
which we didn't see all of them because we weren't on air at the time. So
I'm just trying to think back to, as a consequence, it is too tough to call, and we'll have to wait for our official notification from the Route du Sud organisers, as we see Caja Rural Seguros AG coming across the line here, involved in that breakaway peloton, and dropped on the final climb of the day. That was a brute of a climb as well.
Well, it was a brute of a day, wasn't it? It was uphill all day from the word go, and then the Tourmalet, to do the Tourmalet and then carry on and do 2 other big climbs, as we see the almost saint-like in France, Thomas Voeckler coming up this climb, and there is your leader's red jersey. What a day he's had, what a race he's had so far, Julien Loubet, and by no means has he, you know, not done everything he can or been shown up on this climb. What a fantastic effort. Only dropped with about 8K to go, wasn't he?
He was, and it's been, as I said earlier, a really fantastic effort from Lube, and he has done great honour to the jersey that he has on his shoulders. They will have to wait until he comes across the line to officially say that he's no longer going to be in that red jersey. And with just that last stage to come, 154.8 kilometres tomorrow, with some, once again, quite a lumpy start, which is all uncategorised. But two little third category climbs in there as well, so it's a bit of a nothing day as far as gaining seconds is concerned. But when we get to see just exactly what is going on between Dillier and Carapaz, which we're still waiting for, we will then be able to update you with what's going on. This is the stage itself. So Pierre Rolland winning the stage with Gianni Moscon in second, Richard Carapaz in third, picking up bonus seconds, and with 13 seconds advantage over Sylvain Dillier. We're going to take a quick break, come back and update you on the overall.